Well, this week's proof assignment is all about eye candy, and I really enjoy doing graphics. And people have asked me about rotation and things like moving flowers in the wind, and so I decided I would go ahead and give this a try. All right. So, um, let's start off with a simple flower and see how hard it is to move that with the wind. Okay? And this is something I had started last night with my study group and didn't finish. So let's take do flower, and I think we're going to go with classes again, and I hope that's not too confusing. I know they've not been formally introduced in the class, but well, let's see what happens. So we're going to create a flower class, and this time I'm going to put it down here just because nobody knows why. Okay, class flower, and so init, and I have to say def, this is what sets up a flower. Okay, so self canvas. I had to just make the canvas a global variable. Why do I make some things global variables and not others? Well, there's only one root and there's only one canvas, and so instead of passing them around, I'm going to just let them be globals. Okay, so we're going to create a global, and let's see, where it is canvas. There we go. Global canvas. And we're going to take it out of there. So I need to remember to make it global. Somebody was going to remind me about getting that capital L, weren't you? I think that will create a flower, even though I don't assign it to a variable. Let's see. Oh, I shouldn't have made this global canvas here. All right. This one I do want to make global. Since it's already all through here, I'm going to leave it as a as the parameter here. But when we get down to flower, we're going to use the global one. Okay. So let's see. What do we need? We need a self.stem equals canvas. So I need to say global canvas here to make sure I'm using the global variable. Dot create line. Let's see. Sorry, thinking instead of talking. This is going to take some figuring out, but we're going to make it, for the moment, we're going to make this in a fixed location. If I was going to do this for the assignment, of course, I'd want to pass in, well, maybe I better do it right anyway. Okay, so let's do X location and Y location. So this is going to be the base of the flower, is the X and Y, okay? 200 scene bottom minus 100. Start that there. So now we're going to create a line, and it's going to go from xy to xy minus 100, and then we're going to put another point here, and so that's going to give us two line segments, but since they're straight, since they all are x over, it's just going to be two line segments straight up. And let's just see, width equals 3, fill equals green. And then we're going to put in this smooth equals true. We'll see what smooth does in just a moment. And let's see what happens if we just run that. Whoops. Got to get in the right directory here. Okay. Okay, so there's my flower stem. Maybe a little taller than I intended it to be, but it'll work. We'll just leave that alone. Okay. Then we're going to say self.blossom. We're just going to have a stem and a blossom equals canvas.create polygon. Oops, poly was really gone. So this is going to be x y minus 200 fill equals yellow. I need more x and y's than that, don't I?
He's down in the basement.
Let's see. So that's just where it starts. We're going to just leave it as an ellipse, okay?
Fine, baby.
Or oval. X, y minus 200. So x minus 50, y minus 250, x plus 50, y minus 200. So let's see what that does for a flower. A beautiful flower, isn't it? Okay, now we're going to want some wind going in this direction, and we're going to need to figure out how to move this thing. So we're going to say root.after. Seems like I should have to make root global also, but it seems to deal with that all right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Root.after 100 flower.move self. Okay, and there's one more thing here, and this isn't going to make a lot of sense to start off with, but we're going to call it self.angle equals think what it's equal to. It's equal to 90 degrees. Like I said, that's not going to make a lot of sense, but maybe, well, okay, let me try and explain what I'm thinking of here. So I'm going to want the flower to sway back and forth as if in the wind, okay? And if you notice how I'm moving that mouse, it goes faster in the middle, slows down at the end, and then turns around. Well, you can think of that as the x-coordinate of a circle. Okay, so if we think of 90 degrees, so 0 is pointing right, 90 degrees is right up here. So at this point, the x-coordinate of the circle is in the middle of its movement, and as it moves in a positive direction, the point will move in the negative direction because we're going like this, right? And so the whole flower will lean this way, and then it'll come back to vertical when it's at 100 or 270 degrees, and it'll be clear over to the right at 0 degrees. So that's what I'm thinking of with the angle. So now we have to do def move self. Okay, that was easy enough. So let's see. So delta x, okay, first we need to increment angle. So we're going to say angle plus equals, and we'll just step it by 10 degrees, all right? I still got degrees to radians up here because all the functions are going to use radians. And we're going to say, so delta x equals math.cosine degrees to radians angle, and so now we're going to say chords, and this was the magic that I had to find. I actually researched this on my own. This is going to be canvas.chords. So the function is named chords, my variable is named chords. Maybe that's not great, but self.stem. Okay, and if we just stop at that point in the debugger, we won't see anything happen because I haven't. Whoops! Local variable angle reference before assignment. Oh, well, that's very true. Self.angle. How about that? Let's try that. Name angle is not defined. Oh. See, that's why you should use search and replace to rename things like that and not just try to. Okay, so at least it didn't crash that time. But let's stop in the debugger. There we go. And for some reason this didn't. Oh, that got deleted. No wonder it's having troubles finding it. File. It used to be in a different location. Videos, rotation, rotation.py. Okay, now we can get down here to flower, and so if we stop there and we, whoops, what do you mean int error is not run? Start debugging, Python file. Okay, so now it's stopped at our breakpoint, and we can, oh, I need to step one more time, and it steps out, so I can't see chords. Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's run it again. And this time we'll go to the debug console, and we'll say canvas.chords self.stem. So that allows me to execute any code in the debugger. So now I can see 200, 399, 200, 299, 200, 199. That's not the coordinates that I gave it, is it? Oh. Okay, so there was some monkey business going on here. All right. So those are the current coordinates. This is the base. I don't want the base of the flower to move, but this is halfway up the flower, and this is the top of the flower. And so to make it look like it's bending, I want to move this point a third of the amount that delta x says, and I want to move this 2/3 of the amount that delta x says. And oh, I should be taking into account well, my flower is going to stretch right now, so it's not going to look real natural when it moves, but so we'll see what this means. I'm going to go back to Emacs. I'm sorry. I'm just more comfortable with editing in Emacs. So we're going to say chords sub, and I could figure this out in my mind, and I should get rid of this, shouldn't I? So I'm just going to affect this x coordinate and this x coordinate, okay? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 and 4. So coordinates sub 2 plus equals delta x times 0.333, and chords sub 4 plus equals delta x times 1. Now I need to get the blossom. Well, actually, let's just do that far, okay? We'll see what happens. It's not going to be real pretty, right? But nothing happened. Oh, because I forgot one minor step. Now I need to say canvas.chords self.stem chords. So that sets it back into the coordinates. Alright, where'd my mouse go? Why is my mouse not moving? I was over a crack in the couch. That's what I get for sitting on a couch, right? It didn't move. Why didn't it move? Yeah, now we go to our debugger. And we say restart. Okay. So we step. Ooh, delta x is a very small number. That's why we couldn't see it move. So I forgot to give a scale factor to delta x. That's what the problem was. Yeah, for now, we'll just leave it here. Okay, so delta x times, and for the moment I'm just going to hardwire in a 20 in there. It's kind of a number that I picked relative to 200. And so that means that at most the flower will move 1/10 of its height. Maybe that's too little. Let's make it 40. So it'll move 1/5 of its height through a full movement. There we go. And it moved before we had a chance to see it because my delay is so short. So now we need to do chords equals canvas.chords. And I'm reusing this variable chords because it's still a set of coordinates. Self.blossom, right? And I'm going to say, let's see, that's an xy, xy, right? So I'm going to say chords sub 0 plus equals delta x, and chords sub 2 plus equals delta x. And then we're going to say, well, let's just try that. And let's change this delay so we can actually see the motion, all right? Oh, I forgot to set them back into the blossom. Silly me. Canvas.chords self.blossom chords. Right. So did you see the whole thing move over to the left a little bit there? So let's go ahead, and now we're going to keep calling this, right? So we're going to say root.after, and we're going to put this back to 1/10 of a second. See how bad that looks. 100 flower.move self. So let's see what that does. Whoa! Well, he went a lot further to the left than I expected, and he didn't go back to the right. Why didn't he go back to the right? Oh, I said cosine. I meant sine. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, that's close. I don't know why that's so big. Let's make it 4 and see what happens. Now he's just waving gently in the breeze. Now you can see the problem. I'm not rotating the blossom, so it's just moving back and forth, so it doesn't look entirely natural. You may notice the motion is a little bit jumpy because we're only moving every 1/10 of a second. So what we do is we increase this to 100 times a second instead of 10 times a second, but then we have to cut down the amount it moves each time. So now why did we go back to that? That's not at all what I intended. So something here is not working the way I expected. Well, let's go back to the debugger and let's put a breakpoint. Okay, let's try that and let's restart. And we got to here. Okay, so self.angle is 90. I step and it goes to 91. Delta x should be, that doesn't look right. Delta x should be almost nothing at that point. So remember math.pi, math.sine degrees to radians. So if I take that and put that down here in my debug console, that's 1.5, yeah. Sine is 0.9. I've still got the wrong. Sine, that's y, yeah. So it should be cosine. Cosine would be 0. So if I repeat this with cosine, see, this is the thing now, I can type my own code here. That would be that much. Okay. So my instinct was right. That should be, yeah, cosine. Let's come back here, invert that. But he's still going way far over there. Gosh, why is that happening? All right, come back to here. Got our breakpoint still. Restart. Okay. So delta x is a very small number. So I'm going to run again till the next time we get here. Let's see. Well, they're moving together, so I know that that's done correctly, because this is the top of the stem, and this is the bottom of the blossom. Well, no, it's not the bottom of the blossom. It's the coordinates of the blossom. And so it's moving at the same rate as the top of the stem. That's good. But why is it moving so far? So we let it run again. Self.angle goes to 92. Delta x goes to -0.13, yeah. Step several times. Self.angle is 96. Okay, this is where I miss a more sophisticated debugger. Conditional breakpoint. It's probably what I want. What I want is to skip this breakpoint a number of times. So we'll just let it keep going. And math.angle is up to 107. So what's our delta x at now? Negative 1.2. That makes sense. We really want to get up to 180. There's 121. Delta x is negative 2, yeah. $132. 141. 149. 158. Well, I guess I could check and see what delta x is up to now. Negative 3. Yeah, that's... See, the largest amplitude should be 4 because math.cosine should never be able to get larger than 1. And so what I need to do here is print math.cosine degrees to radians 180. Negative 1, which is what it should be. 185, negative 0.99. 270 should be back to 0 approximately. I use math.pi. Why isn't that exactly 0? I don't know. Add 45, so 315 degrees should be about 0.7. Yep, 0.707 is the correct value. And then 360 should get us to 1. And so delta x is negative. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, this is a really silly mistake. I'm thinking in terms of absolute position, but I'm adding this on each time. So what I really want is to move it to that position, not move it by that amount. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So the mental model I had of what was happening was not matched by what I'm doing with the code. So what I need to start out with is, so I need a self.x0 equals 200. And so this is, sorry, self.x0 equals x, not 200. Okay, and so this is, I don't really need to retrieve the, yeah, I do need to retrieve the coordinates, but I'm going to say coordinate sub 2 equals self.x0 plus delta x times 0.33, and chords x equals self.x0 plus delta x. And so this is also it's not going any faster. faster. I'm trying to speed up what I'm doing, instead I'm making it slower. Okay, and at that point then this should be back to 20 or whatever the number was that I was thinking of. Okay. What happened to my blossom? My blossom has a problem there. Okay, so so self dot blossom x naught, oh, blossom left, that's what I want, equals -50, and self dot blossom right equals 50. And so now this is minus self dot blossom left, since I made it negative, that has to be a plus, right? Yes. And this is plus self dot blossom right. Let's see if that works. That's a little too slow, I would say. So now let's move this up to 10. Let's see what that does. Okay, so now my flower is waving in the wind. And now I can come up here, and where did I do my flower? Okay. For flower step in range 4, let's make 4 flowers. Flower sub 200 plus 100 times flower step, and we'll leave them all at the same Y location. Maybe I should have spaced them out a little bit more than that. And now they're all waving in the wind. Isn't that beautiful? Well, and I was hoping to get to rotation too, but I'm going to make a different video out of that because it took a long time to get to this point. So, I hope you enjoy my flowers waving in the wind. They're kind of hypnotic, you know? I'm really kind of enjoying this. Back and forth. Back and forth. Whoops, sorry. Let's see. If you wanted to make them bend further one way than they do the other, which would really happen with wind, let's see, how would we do that? We would move I think we just have to move this like that. I think that makes them lean. Yep, there we go. So you can see they lean further downwind and then they come back. And further downwind and then they come back. If you want them to lean at different times, then plus random dot randint 20. It has to have two parameters, doesn't it? Now can you see how they're just slightly out of sync with each other? If you want it to be more than that, you make this 45. So now you can see they're moving just slightly different from each other. Of course, if you wanted the wind to ripple down them, we'd have to put an angle in here, and where am I calling flower? Here we go. 90 plus flower step times 15. Whoops. Oh, I forgot the comma. Well, sorry about that. See, VS Code would have shown me that with a squiggly. Emacs doesn't do that for me. What? Which 93? Oh. And I forgot to add it in here. Self.angle equals angle. Okay. How about that? I did it the wrong way. I think it'd be more satisfying if this was minus so now you can see the first one is leaning more and the others lean later. Okay. Oh, wow. And so this is the thing about graphics, is you can keep fiddling with it forever, right? Because we can increase our wind from a gentle breeze to a hurricane by changing this to maybe not a hurricane yet, but it's going to be a much more violent wind. See that? Wow. And I guess as part of the hurricane, we could make them make them go faster like that. And so we can see we could put in a wind speed and make the offset and the angle proportional to the wind speed, and then we could change the wind speed during the simulation and they would move at different amounts. Oh, I guess we've really got to see that, don't we? Alright, so let's have a wind speed, and we'll start it off at 4 miles an hour. And now we'll say, let's see, plus equals wind speed times 2, and this will be wind speed times 5 plus wind speed times 2.5, because I made it half as much as this. There are obviously different ways of expressing that better. Let's see what that gives us at 4 miles an hour. Oh, they're just barely waving back and forth. That's not too bad. But now if we move the wind speed to 8, oh, we get a lot more motion at 8 miles an hour. And if we move it to 16, yeah, it's surprising we don't start losing blossoms at that point. But now if we want to make this so adjust wind speed. So somewhere down here we'll have a, let's, it'll just be a global function. So it's going to be def adjust wind speed. Oops, I forgot the colon there. So if wind speed, I need another global variable, which is why I might want an object, but we'll just put it here. Okay, wind increasing equals true. So we're going to start this off at 2. So wind increasing equals true. If wind increasing, I don't need a paren there, that's C++, wind speed times equals 1.1. Oh, I'm going to change this. Okay, so wind fraction equals wind increasing. I can't do it that way. Equals 1.1 if wind increasing, else 0.9. So wind speed times equals wind fraction. And that's not indented. Now we need to say if wind increasing and wind speed is greater than, 16 was pretty strong if I remember correctly. Wind increasing equals false. Needs to be capitalized. If wind decreasing, not wind increasing, and wind speed less than 2, wind increasing equals true. And now we need the root.after. Root.after. We're going to make it adjust every 2 seconds. But let's start at 1 second just to see what happens. Adjust wind speed. And there's really nothing to pass there. Okay, so this needs to take param equals none, so that's an optional parameter. And I need to say global wind speed and global wind increasing. All right. So they're just moving very slowly. They're getting faster. Oh, it's getting more violent. And remember that right-hand blossom goes off the window when it gets up to 16. Oh. Okay, there we go. Just about maximum wind speed there. Oh, now it's decreasing and they're moving slower. And it's almost calm now. Do you remember when I said I thought I was done? Like I said, you can always keep going with graphics. You can always find something else you want to do. Uh-oh. My wind is... Oh, now it's increasing. So 2 was a little too slow, I think. Okay, now it's going back up. Good. Okay. So maybe we want the wind speed never to go below 3. Let's see. Like I said, you can keep messing with this forever. I don't remember what I started. Oh, I started wind speed at 2. But hereafter it'll never go below 3. Okay, so the wind's whipping stronger. And of course, if we had clouds going through the sky, they'd have to be moving faster as the wind gets stronger, right? And then as the wind calms down, the clouds would slow down as well. Do we really want to mess with that right now? No, we don't. It sounds like a lot of fun, but we're not going to do it. Okay. Calms down to 3 miles an hour. And, whoops, now it's starting to increase again. They're getting a little more violent in their motion. And the wind's going faster. 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 Oh no! Oh dear. Yes, I'm having way too much fun with this. Okay, we're ending this video.